Welcome everyone, this is Pilot Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at lasers and LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Krister.
Hello.
Hello there, Krister. Are you all rested from raiding and fighting?
From all of our rat stomping we did last night?
Yeah.
No, I still need another.
Alright. Let's go into our news for this week, where we have an update to 35.1.1. And on the avatars, settings are now preserved when using the barbershop.
Oh, I wonder what was happening. Were they just random?
I guess so. Yeah, it might have been that it was randomized every time you came into it or something like that. I guess it's because now people are using the barbershop a lot more this week, and that there are a lot more settings than there used to be.
Well, yeah, you had to go in and fiddle with the settings. So
Right.
I gave myself stub, for instance.
Right. Yes. And I redid my hair.
You want to think about that too. The barbershops have been like dead for years.
Yes.
And now they've had this total resurgence of the barber economy.
Yes. Yes. And also they corrected a human male dance to match the other avatars. Human male scars have been re-added to the details and detail to lists. Numerous clothing bugs have been corrected for human males and females. War-steed animations for humans and Bjornings have been corrected. Travel mount animations for human males and male Bjornings will be corrected in the next game update. And beards and stubble on female human characters are now default to locked in option 1, so that they are not included in randomized appearances by default. And players can unlock this setting if they wish to have it included in their randomized results. Color pickers now support clicking and dragging. Several visual issues with brawler gauntlets and hands have been corrected. An issue with lower body baggy outfit meshes have been corrected. Corrected an issue with human male Helmingas, Erlingas, and Westfold hooded and non-hooded cloak appearances. And corrected an issue with Bjorning female hairstyles 14 through 16 that resulted in a bald appearance. And as for classes, numerous brawler animation issues have been corrected for male and female humans. Slip Free is once again unusable while stunned, dazed, or knocked down, because I would think that it would be rather useless without being able to do that. Fine Footing is once again usable while stunned, dazed, or knocked down. Corrected an animation issue with human male lore masters when using Power of Knowledge. And an animation has been added for Defiant Challenge for female humans. And as for items, the new Mighty Ram fireworks are now available on anniversary barters in both consumable and permanent versions. Legendary tier bows now drop on all versions of Bjorning, Champion, and Guardian classes in Sarkoth and Guathranost. And this time they said legendary tier bows instead of legendary bows. Looks like after our comments last week, they decided to word that a little bit more clearly. And drop chances for class items are now consistent across all classes in Sarkoth and Guathranost. And the fireworks wall rack has been renamed to the fireworks rack and now works on wall hooks. Oh, okay. Before it was called a fireworks wall rack and it didn't work on wall hooks? Is what that implies?
I think so.
All right, that is rather strange. And the fireworks thrown is now usable. And colors and textures now fender correctly on female elves and high elves with the firework launcher's face guard. A firework launcher's face guard?
Yeah, I wonder what it was doing before, too. That's almost interesting.
I'm just trying to think, why would you want... fireworks launch. Okay, it's a face guard worn by a fireworks launcher. Okay. That makes more sense. For a while there, I thought that it was a face guard that had fireworks in it, and it wasn't making sense.
Oh, that would be so cool.
But dangerous. But okay.
Just load like 50 bottle rockets into it.
All right. So okay. Yes, I guess a face guard would be something good to have if you were a fireworks launcher. And as for quests and adventure areas, the missions Stirring of Spirits and the Ruins of Gavarad now work correctly on Delving's Variant 6. The final Orcish Gate in the mission The Bridge to Karanost no longer stacks the Delving Malaz Sauron's Touch when played on Delving Variant 4. The mission Karanos Courtyard now has proper Malaz strength at higher tiers and now properly activates for both players in duo mode. And completing the quest, A Cave in the Hills will once again correctly unlock access to Raid Dragok's Lair. And that's because there was an issue when we had the issue with the Moria missions and with the Moria skirmishes not being properly unlocked. It was also a problem that they had with Dragok's Lair at the same time, had an issue there. So they fixed that one. I know they don't say anything about the Moria skirmishes, so I don't know whether or not they've fixed that quietly or if they still have it open for everyone.
Perhaps it was a quiet fix.
Yeah, more likely a quiet fix. Then that is it for the release notes for update 35.1.1. Now there was also a bulwer for 35.1.2, a beta for that. Most of the items that are in the patch notes are the same that I just said, is because they had applied the same changes to both bulwer and to the live update that they were doing pretty much simultaneous in there. The main purpose of it then, of 35.1.2, was simply to add the tweaks that they made to the raid. It included the raid up to tier 3, trying to test that to see if how everything is going in there, so that they will be able to get the raid up. And right now they are trying to get that out next week, because they think it's now up to a polished enough state that they can actually bring out the raid and have us go into this Witch King's into the Witch King's lair and see what the Angrim have done to it since the Witch King disappeared.
I'm assuming a lot of shag carpet.
Probably.
Lava lamps.
Well, you gotta remember, is now that they have all the... When you've got this shard from an oath stone in there, I mean, at least that's what I'm assuming is the plot to the raid, because they did quite a lot of setup for that being what it's about. What's annoying me is the fact is that I did all this work on the first few chapters of this plotline story, and then they said, okay, now if you want to see the end of the story, you'll have to do this raid. No.
Hey, but we're going to do it.
We are going to do it. We are going to
We're
find
get enough
some way to
people
do it. we are going to find some way to get enough people to do it, whether that means that teaming up with Mythgard and having Ploy and Friday Night Fights work together. Could you imagine all of Ploy just dropping down on Friday Night Fights?
It would. I think it would be akin to the Tri-Lands and the Alphas in Revenge of the Nerds working together towards a common goal. So that's it.
All right.
Yeah, it would be pretty crazy, but that would be part of the fun too. It's always funny when we get the kind of get the academics and then the crazy Looney Tunes play people together. I always enjoyed that. So.
Right, and let's see, we got this. So right now they're expecting that to come out next week, but we know the raid has already been pushed back once already, so don't hold your breath. But also with next Wednesday, and probably coming with that patch at the same time, is going to be Shadowfax reaching level cap on Wednesday, and that of course means that they'll be opening up free transfers off of Shadowfax, since there'll be level cap time, and thus eventually the server will be closing, probably after a few months. So you need to get your characters off. So time to start thinking about what server you would like to be calling home after saying farewell to Shadowfax.
Are you going to try to get like Pine Leaf 75?
Well, I don't have any character. Well, okay, I think I have one character on Shadowfax that's maybe level 5 or something like that at most. So, no, I really didn't play much on Shadowfax. I mean, I had done Honor and went all the way to level cap on Honor, so I said, okay, do I really want to do it on another? And especially since I wasn't so keen about the way that landscape difficulty was implemented.
Right, yeah.
So I just decided not to worry about Shadowfax. In fact, I think the only time the character I created on Shadowfax was there just because I think at the Academy they wanted to try out Shadowfax or something like that a couple of times. So that's all we did, is the stuff in Heirloom, I think, the early parts of that. Now, on top of all this, there is also much discussion in the forums. If you look at the dev track, you'll see that it is inundated with this. I think there are 3 pages of discussion for this last week because of all the stuff that's in there. And there's a lot of discussion on the Hunter, the Lore Master, and Guardians, and talking about some of the things that they're considering there. With the Hunters, for example, they're thinking of 2 potential options that they could have, and they're getting people's responses on these. So it sounds like that the Hunters, Lore Masters, and Guardians are good candidates as for the classes that they're planning to update. I don't know if this is what they're planning on update 36 or 37. Probably 36 or 37 is when they're planning to implement something, and so they want to make sure that they vet this before the membership to say, okay, what do you think about this? And some of these people are saying, oh, this sounds good. Other things they're saying is, yuck, usual thing, right?
I'm glad they're doing that. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm very happy when they solicit community feedback. So.
Right. So it looks like I'm trying to think, was there a line that they're planning on deprecating on the Hunters? I think it might be that they're wondering what they're going to be doing with Blue Line on the Hunters, which is the Huntsman one. We'll see what they actually do, because I'm sure they'll be reading the feedback and deciding which direction would be best to go into. And that's it for our game news. So let's head into our store sales. Krister, what's on sale this week?
All right, store, carry, and share. Get 30% off vault storage and shared storage inventory slots. And that's going to be now through May 4th. And then the weekly coupon is for a free Universal Potion times 5. The coupon code is Morale Potion 5. MORALEPOTION 5. And that is through May 4th as well.
Yes, just a little boost there. And let's head to our weekend gaming. Krister, what were you up to?
Well, we had gathered. Thank goodness you've been there the last couple times finally, because we've gotten 5 people together, and then we've had Pine Leaf show up and complete our fellowship. And I think we had a very. I almost feel confident after last night that we had a really good combination of classes, and I don't know if it was just have the red line Cappy in the mix, but I just have a feeling we had a good mix. We were incinerating the second boss on T1, and so I'm really curious to try it with T2. Of course, this is kind of contingent on the raid as well. You know, if the raid comes out, I want to see if we can try to do that. But I'm definitely feeling a little more confident about T2 with Vermin, as long as you don't mind taking it again, of course. So
we'll see how. I was able to take it at tier 1, but tier 2 could turn into tears.
Well, yes, but this is where we really do need to just kind of start working on our tactics too, because now I think every majority of people have watched the videos, understand the tactics with the disease or poison clears, and then I think it's just gonna be a lot more mobile with the T2. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling we can get it. But of course, Floyd is used to dying many times to achieve our goals. So this. Mm-hmm. And then in ESO, I decided I was going to fool around with a Necromancer tank because I thought that was an unusual combination, and I found a perfect outfit, which is the most important part of any endeavor I engage in an MMO. And it's basically he's just running around in tattered pants and a shirt, and he's this shriveled, pale guy with a blindfold on, and he's got the zombie personality too. So he just looks like somebody you don't want to be around. And I thought that was the perfect kind of representation of this kind of ghoulish necromantic tank. So we'll see how far I go with that.
A necro tank.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting combo. Because the source tank, my main guy is a sorcerer tank, which is an interesting combination. So I was kind of curious about what the necromancer side of it might open up. And then I guess I've just been in a Lego mood lately, so I've been playing Starship Evo quite a bit and building, trying to standardize the fleet design. So maybe I'll get the courage to show this ultra nerdy stuff at some point, and show you what I do here. But it's going to take some time.
Okay.
And finally, what were you up to?
What was I up to? Well, my warden, in addition to joining Ploy to incinerate a big rat, I also did the quests that were leading up to that up in the Cardoom area. Finished all those quests. That's right. So I did the solo version so that I would be able to have the quest, so I would have the food. So that means last night I was able to have the proper food in it, so that if we did die, which we didn't, but when we do tier 2, I'm going to need that proper food.
Yes, you are.
Yes. And then on Friday Night Fights, we helped some rangers help our new friends of the Falcon Clan, right? I'm sure we'll be best of buds. And finally, I created a character in Dinkum, which, again, that Sanswinda introduced me to right after last week's show. And I've created one which I was running with them, and after that I created a single player world for myself, where I was playing it all the way through single player, and I've in the beginning of winter right now. And one of the things that's different on Dinkum is I'm so used to, in a game like this, has some vibes in it that remind me of vaguely of Don't Starve, except the mood is completely different. Is in Don't Starve is roguelike. In other words, if you die, you die. In this one, if you get killed, no, you passed out, and that you and someone brings you back home. Brings you home when you wake up in the next morning. So, and the other item that's very different is that this game is set in Australia, or I should say on an island off of Australia. So their concept of winter is completely different than our concept of winter. In Don't Starve, it is bitterly cold during winter. You're worrying about freezing to death and all of this stuff. And here, oh yeah, no, it doesn't snow. What's that snow? I mean, you've got crops that you farm in the wintertime easily, as if in other words, it's cooler than usual, I guess. It's probably, in other words, it's not bitterly cold or anything like that. So I'm imagining that this is somewhere off, especially when you consider that all the fauna there are obviously based on Australian wildlife. So the only time you see snow in the entire game is during the prologue. We're at this city called South City, and I'm just wondering, where is South City? I mean, in our Antarctica, or where? I'm trying to think, what's south of Australia that...
Yeah, that would have to be. Wouldn't it?
I mean,
that would be the next stop.
I mean, because it's certainly not in Tasmania, because as far as I can tell, snow is pretty rare in Tasmania, I think, because their average winter temperature is slightly above freezing. So I'm presuming that everything is... They said to South City. It's called South City. So South City, it's got to be towards the south, as opposed to on the other side of the equator, up in the northern hemisphere, or anything like that. But I have no idea where that city is. But Antarctica is the only. And I was wondering, why would everybody move to? I can understand why we want to get out of there. Why did everybody move to South City in the first place if it's so cold there? No idea.
Maybe because the rest of the Earth is boiling away.
Oh, you mean it's a result of global warming?
Maybe South City's like the only place they can make it.
Well, we seem to be surviving pretty well in the island we're at.
Well, who says you won't? Yeah, once several billion people pass away, it's gonna be pretty nice.
Oh boy. Anyway, but it's nice to be able to get through winter without constantly freezing to death, as I always felt was the danger whenever I was playing Don't Starve. So it sort of scratches that Don't Starve itch without the punishing survival that you need in Don't Starve. And that's my week in gaming. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page to support the players and last on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. We have 2 shows each week. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. USC Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. USC Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. When we have a live show, you can join us for our shows at lotroplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pine of Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.